The most saddening piece of news to come out this week was the passing of legendary NBA center Bill Russell. Yes, Bill Russell passed away Monday due to natural causes. I'm pretty sure he was 88 years old. There are not enough words to describe what Bill Russell means to the NBA, what he means to civil rights, what he means to um just the labor relations side of the NBA. I'm going to give my thoughts on this in a second, but of course this was reported by Woj, this was reported by Shams, but the I'm fairly certain the original announcement came courtesy of his Twitter, which I'm pretty sure is now managed by his estate. It reads, it is with a very heavy heart we would like to pass along to all of Bill's friends, fans, and followers. Bill Russell, the most prolific winner in American sports history, passed away peacefully today at age 88 with his wife, Janine, by his side. Arrangements for his memorial service will be announced soon. Bill's two state championships in high school offered a glimmer of the incomparable run of pure team accomplishment to come. Twice an NCAA champion, captain of a gold medal winning U.S. Olympic team, 11 times an NBA champion, and at the helm for two NBA championships as the first black head coach of any North American professional sports team. Along the way, Bill earned a string of individual awards that stands unprecedented as it went unmentioned by him. In 2009, the award for the NBA Finals Most Valuable Player was renamed after two-time Hall of Famer as, quote, the Bill Russell NBA Finals Most Valuable Player of Award. But for all the winning, Bill's understanding of the struggle is what illuminated his life, from boycotting a 1961 exhibition game to unmask too long tolerated discrimination, to leading Mississippi's first ever integrated basketball camp in the combustible wake of Medgar Evers' assassination, to decades of activism, widely ultimately recognized by his receipt of the Presidential Medal of Honor of Freedom in 2010. Bill called out injustice with an unforgiving candor that he intended would disrupt the status quo, and with a powerful example that, though never his humble intention, will forever inspire teamwork, selflessness, and thoughtful change. Bill's wife Janine and his many friends and families thank you for keeping Bill in your prayers. Perhaps you'll relive one or two of the golden moments he gave us, or recall his trademark laugh as he delighted in explaining the real story behind how those moments unfolded. And we hope each of us can find a new way to act or speak up with Bill's uncompromising, dignified, and always constructive commitment to principle. That would be one last and lasting win for our beloved number 6. Bill Russell's story, for many of you younger NBA fans, I'm sure that you know who Bill Russell is. And you know him as the most decorated individual athlete in the history of North American sports. But his career, I don't know if it has been adequately praised, because he played during a time that we nowadays on the internet like to make fun of, for, people in this era going up against plumbers and firefighters and essentially just like dumbing down the level of competition that guys like Will and Bill Russell and Bob Cousy and Jerry West went up against. Now, there's no denying that in the 75 years, or in like the 60 years or so since Bill Russell has last played, the talent level has risen tremendously. It's risen tremendously in the last 20 years alone. But make no mistake about it, Bill Russell would have been a dominant NBA player regardless of when he played. There are some guys during that era whose talent level transcends their competition, and it's why they were able to be so dominant during this time. I'm just really quickly going to run over to Basketball Reference, and we are going to look at Bill Russell's career. This dude averaged 15 points and 22 and a half rebounds per game for his career. The block shot statistic was not a thing when Bill Russell was playing, but it's estimated that he averaged anywhere from 8 to 15 per game, depending where in the season they were. It got as high as 15 when they were in the postseason, and hovered around 6, 7, 8 for the regular season. he was so dominant on defense. He had great size. He was freakishly athletic. He would have been freakishly athletic by today's standards, let alone what it was like back in the late 50s and all throughout the 60s, which is essentially just like it's like hopping into a time machine almost. It's like hopping into a time machine and just watching an alien play basketball, more or less. His accolades are also some of the best in NBA history. 12-time All-Star, of course, an 11-time NBA champion, 11-time All-NBA, member of the 75th anniversary team. If the Finals MVP award were around before, I think it was first introduced in 1969. If Bill Russell were able to receive a Finals MVP award, I have no doubt in my mind that he would have been an 8, 9, 10, potentially even 11-time Finals MVP, shattering the records of guys like LeBron, shattering it like the record of guys like Michael Jordan, Kareem, Magic. But unfortunately, that was not the case. And I think that's why when it comes down to it, when it comes down to talking about the legacies of certain guys, the old heads are most often neglected because we just simply do not have enough data to compare them to guys like Kobe, LeBron, Tim Duncan, even guys like Larry Bird and Patrick Ewing and Magic Johnson, who didn't come along that much later than them. We just simply do not have enough data to make an accurate comparison. But that almost doesn't matter because there's a reason why people still talk about Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West, and it's because their impact on basketball is largely why the NBA looks how it does today. Any dominant defensive big man, whether it was Kareem, whether it was Shaq, whether it was Tim Duncan, these guys don't exist if not for Bill Russell. And all of them look towards Bill Russell as an idol, as a friend in some cases. He is the gold standard to what he is the gold standard for defensive big men when it comes to just like physical attributes, also incredibly high basketball IQ. I mean, you're not blocking all these shots if you don't have a mix of athleticism and basketball IQ. Just a fierce rim protector. There really is no way to properly articulate how dominant he was. And even, we look at his advanced statistics. They tell a story, but they don't tell the whole story. Because again, it's very difficult to compare what basketball was like back in the 60s to what it is in the 2000s. Do not get it twisted, folks. Bill Russell is undeniably one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and beyond that, one of the most decorated athletes of all time. In today's NBA landscape, we have severe reverence for guys who were unabashed winners. The reason that Michael Jordan is often put over LeBron James when it comes to the GOAT debates, and listen, I love Michael Jordan, best or second best player of all time, I get it. But Bill Russell was a better winner than Michael Jordan was. Like, that is the type of level that we're talking about here. That is the type of proficiency that we're discussing. Now, I get it. The NBA was different back then. There were fewer teams, fewer games, shorter playoffs. Everything was different. But you still had to go out and win. And Bill Russell did that shit 11 times as a player. Now, when I do my greatest of all time lists, I don't like to assign numbers to these guys because there really is no way to number them. I prefer to do a tier system. Tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, tier 4, whatever, but it gets a little it doesn't mean as much when you get outside of the top 10, if that makes any sense. Like, it's a lot easier to rate those guys because that obviously Charles Barkley is closer to Kevin Durant than he is to Michael Jordan. But in the top tier, I always go LeBron, MJ, Magic, Bill Russell, and Kareem. If you have a discussion with anybody who tries to discount what Bill Russell did during his tenure as an NBA player, they need to be lobotomized, straight up. There's no other way to describe it. You cannot put so much emphasis on winning and then discount the greatest winner that North American sports has ever seen. 11 titles. 11. A dynasty in and of himself. More titles than literally every other NBA team. If it were not for Bill Russell, the Celtics would have, I think, 15 titles? 15 or 6. No, pardon me. Holy shit. They would have 5 or 6 titles if not for Bill Russell. The only organization that has more titles than Bill Russell is the Los Angeles Lakers. He is the he is the quintessential winner in North American sports when it comes to players. Coaching obviously is a little bit different because you can spend more time as a coach than as a player. But even Bill Russell won 2 titles as a coach. Like, the guy just wins. Now, arguably, what's greater than Bill Russell's contributions on the basketball court are his contributions made in the avenue of civil rights. As was mentioned in the tweet announcing his passing, he led a walkout of all of the black players on the Celtics and the Hawks back in 1961 when the Celtics were refused service at a hotel in Kentucky. He organized that walkout. He also backed Muhammad Ali when Muhammad Ali refused to get drafted. And then just also to think about the accomplishments that he accumulated while playing in Boston during Jim Crow and during segregation, like the racial punishment that Bill Russell received and that all of his contemporaries received is not even like describable. Like we seemingly cannot envision what it would be like because it's so far out of our realm of comprehension. Like, obviously racism still exists today, but the overt and explicit racism on display in the United States, in Boston, Massachusetts during the 50s and 60s, it today's does not compare. Okay, like just having the N-word pelted at you during games. I mean, literally, this guy was refused service at a hotel in Kentucky simply because he was black. There's another thing that was mentioned in the tweet announcing his passing was that he was the first African-American head coach in the 4 major sports. I'm pretty sure, definitely in basketball, but if I remember correctly, it was in across the 4 major sports. A huge accomplishment and also a testament to how progressive the Celtics organization was at that time. And of course, their decision, which I believe was facilitated by Red Auerbach, of course, was because Bill Russell proved that he knew how to win. And that if the Celtics wanted to perpetuate this standard of winning, Bill Russell was the obvious guy to lead their team because no one had experienced more success than him. Another thing, he was a member of the first all-black starting 5 in NBA history. There was also, I forgot, there was another thing that he did in college, similar to, goddamn, I remember seeing it, I can't remember, unfortunately. Also, another thing that I think not a lot of people talk about is, well, I say that, and, I really have nothing to base that off of, but Bill Russell was tremendous in leading the charge for the players in their labor disputes. Guys like Bill Russell and Oscar Robertson were fundamental to what the NBA Players Union is today. The NBA Players Union, the NBA Players Association, is a tremendously powerful union, at least when it comes to how they collectively bargain for themselves. In just like the scope of unionization across the United States, which is tremendously low. Like only 10% of the workforce is unionized. The NBA's union and police unions all throughout the country routinely prove that they are the most powerful when it comes to collectively bargaining for their employees. Bill Russell was a huge catalyst in the NBA unveiling their pension plan. Before the 1964 All-Star game, Bill Russell organized a strike effectively where they would not participate in the 64 All-Star game if the NBA did not implement some sort of pension plan. The players voted 11 to 9 to strike. This was sent to the league, and the league immediately implemented a pension plan. It's just a testament to just what a selfless and what a charitable and what a sincerely kind-hearted person Bill Russell was. And then, of course, as he got older, he was photographed taking a knee in response to the whole situation with Colin Kaepernick. Him standing in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. Just a tremendous figure, and I think that NBA fans and sports fans as a whole. Because listen, even if you don't follow the NBA like that, you know about the great winners across all major sports. You know about Michael Jordan. You know about Yogi Berra. You know about Tom Brady. You know about Bill Russell, man. 11 titles. 11 titles is just absolutely it's phenomenal. And there's really not much else I can say because there is no way to properly articulate how just how I can't even find the word to describe Bill Russell, but how integral he is and was to turning the NBA, the sport that we all know and that we all love, into what it is today, both from a basketball perspective, from a labor perspective, and also from a racial perspective. May he rest in peace. He lived a hell of a life, dude. 88 years old. The shit that he saw, the shit that he accomplished. It's it's just tremendous. It's just tremendous. So Bill Russell, may he rest in peace.